Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and welcome back finally to another Expanse reaction video. So I'm finally getting to the season finale of season 2. This is episode 13. I just want to say a quick apology again, and thanks for the continued support of all of my patrons who were very patient during this time when I was unable to film, especially given that we were coming up to the season finale. So just a big thank you to all you guys for your continued support. And I have to tell you, it was extremely difficult for me during this past week when I was almost exclusively unable to do anything other than just lay around, to stop myself from watching this season finale because I was very curious as to what was going to happen. So I will assure you that I was as impatient as you were to get to this episode. So, but finally we are here, so let's just go. Let's jump into it. Season finale, episode 13. Here we go.
You saved us.
I don't deserve credit for that.
Very true.
Alex hadn't talked me off the ledge, we would have been too late.
Did you kill that thing from the lab?
No. It doesn't matter. I almost traded your lives to do it.
So is he having
does
a
not sound like the man
moment?
walked away from Ganymede.
I understand why you did. It won't happen again.
Alright, so he did have kind of a moment of realization after that happened.
It's nice to have you back.
Thing is a living weapon. It's a killing machine.
It's not a machine.
It's not human.
It clearly was once.
Not anymore.
I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna talk.
No.
Talk to it.
We're gonna shoot it, and we're gonna keep on shooting it. And if that doesn't kill it, we're gonna force it out the way it came in.
I
All we have to
completely
do is make sure
understand
it gets
Prex's
onto the hull
impulse.
so Alex can roll the ship and dump it into the drive plume.
Hold it, Rex. We gotta burn that thing down to its fucking atoms.
Is there a plan B?
When it was down on the ground,
Make sure plan A works.
I definitely was more in line with Prax's idea that you shouldn't just try to kill it. Like, if you could try to contain it, it would be good. But I don't know if you're stuck with it on an enclosed small ship, if you can really take the risk of doing anything other than just trying to get it off the ship.
Upper deck looks clear.
What the hell is that thing?
Holden, Amos, what the hell is going on?
Get us in trouble! That thing turned into the wall in a cargo container. I can't disengage the maglock.
Oh, it's magnetic?
Open that panel. We have to override the lock.
I'm on it.
Amos, fall back. Amos, you're losing air. You need to get out of here now. Get out of here. You're no good to anyone dead.
Our escort ship isn't responding.
Speaking of books,
Cover that too. Delivered to the enemy like a Christmas present.
And that motherfucker. I trained him. You warned me.
Language, please.
Privacy, please.
language, please.
Show me your utility access points.
You won't. It doesn't look good.
Thanks for the pep talk. It's better than it could be.
Keep the comrade dark. No messages out. I want guards on every deck.
I found a way out. There's a maintenance crawl on the other side of that wall. It should lead us to the elevator shaft.
That is not going to work.
Right. You'd never make that climb.
Jesus Christ. Not because I'm old. He's been shot.
Plus, she's really old.
Oh my god. Even when they're all like on the verge of death, they're just bantering.
Got a defensible position here. I'll hold it as long as I can. Go to the airlock.
I'm not leaving you two.
Your power armor is in this cave.
Why would you bring it?
Smart.
Get it. And come save our asses. I'll cover you.
Good call bringing her.
On three. 1, 2, 3. Go. said that you needed to do something, and I didn't listen. I made you put me down.
Oh.
Couldn't have been easy for you. It's just that I've been trying to make choices on my own lately, and I can't seem to make the right ones.
No one's always
Shit.
right.
I thought maybe he was mad at her, but he's mad
I'm
at
sorry I
himself.
hurt you. When you said Holden could survive this, you were lying.
Yeah.
Do not blow the hatch until I tell you to.
Interesting that he's saying he's trying to make decisions on his
This
own
rate that
lately.
thing's gonna get through the reactor
You'd
before
see
we can
that
seal
with
everything off.
Cracks in
Okay.
particular in his relationship with Cracks, but
Grab a torch and come down here and help me.
going.
Heard the first time. I can hear it again. It'll buy us some more time.
So is it going for him now? Because now he's the most energy?
Hell no. Enough of that. Sorry, House.
Well, I guess it didn't matter, guy.
Oops.
Looking for revenge. If I die here, let me go. Take the ship and the guys and find someplace safe to ride all this out.
Are you saying you regret it? Everything we've done since the Canterbury.
Of course he doesn't.
No. Yes, but only because I don't get to spend more time with you.
It's neutral. What? Jesus. Look, Naomi said that the creature gets energy from radiation, right?
Yeah, sure. It sucks radiation the way a tick sucks blood. First time we found the protomolecule, it was wrapped around a reactor core, so what?
It's following a nutrient gradient, like leaves growing toward light or roots toward water.
Cracks? We're running out of time here. How does all this plant shit
So
help
you
us?
can lure it?
We can change the gradient. If we give it a better food source that's easier to reach, we won't have to force it out. We lure it out.
Yes.
This ship has torpedoes armed with nuclear warheads, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Smart.
Wait.
Dude, what are you doing?
Come on, dog, do it! Firing up the barbecue.
We've stopped. That's impossible.
Well, now you're protomolecule food. Whoa.
Sides change sometimes. What we think we're fighting for. Who we tell ourselves are the good people. But it just seems means we can't ever stop fighting war after war after war. It's part of being human. An ugly part, but I don't think it will ever change. Technology certainly hasn't changed it. Guns, railguns.
This is the same thing that Aaron Wright was saying, except, you know, in a nicer tone.
No one knows what the protomolecule wants or what it's doing, but they are using it anyway.
Told you, you guys were
It's
fucked.
already
Oh
scared
my
too far to
god.
ever be sure it'll be gone.
What did you do?
I gave the protomolecule to Fred Johnson.
And, okay, first of all, apologies for the ridiculousness of this entire video. Between one kitten just screaming repeatedly and one kitten trying to knock over the camera repeatedly and having to be forcefully held in place, and then the camera cutting out for some unforeseen reason and just stopping recording for a while, so we don't even have the whole thing. A bit of a shit show, to be honest, but hopefully we'll be able to get the majority of this up, and editing is going to take a little longer than normal because of that, having to combine various videos and recordings, but hopefully it won't take too much longer than normal. So, moving past that, let's get back to the episode. Alright, so I'd say I was feeling good at the beginning about the idea that Holden had realized, you know, kind of the way that he was going, the choices that he was making. He was starting to really understand what Naomi had been talking about, and he's saying he's going to try and, you know, scale that back and act more like he himself used to be acting in the past. But then we get this situation, and I don't know how all of that is going to be impacted by what he just found out about Naomi. I mean, if she had just lied to him about destroying it, if that had just been that, I think it still, I mean, it would have been an issue, I'm sure, between them, but I don't think that it necessarily would have had as massive of an impact as what actually we now find out happened, which is that when she thought she was going to die, she gave the coordinates to that and revealed its existence to Fred Johnson, and now it's in his possession. So she just went ahead and did that on her own initiative. She decided the belt needs to have access to this because Earth and Mars both do. And I don't know how Holden's going to be able to deal with that, because not only is that a betrayal of him and Amos and Alex by going behind all of their backs and lying about destroying it, and then choosing to give that to Fred Johnson on her own without discussing it with any of them. But it seems to also be a betrayal of everything that he kind of, so, I mean, not kind of, but obviously very strongly believes in. I mean, we see the lengths that he was willing to go to in the effort to destroy whatever part of the protomolecule they possibly could. And then not only is Naomi not participating actively in that attempt at destruction, but she is distributing it to more individuals. So now it's in the hands of more people than it even was previously. And Fred Johnson might be somebody that they've had a lot of positive interactions with, but Holden obviously doesn't trust him to not do something with the protomolecule. I mean, that's a big source of contention. That was what led to the kind of break between him and Fred in the first place. So I don't know how Holden's going to deal with that. Like, I would have said before that he would have gotten over her lying and they would have just moved past it, but I don't know how they're going to move past that. And this is even leaving aside Alex and Amos if they find out what was done here. I mean, Amos has clearly been going through something where he's saying he's trying to make more decisions for himself independently, and that's why he kind of stood up to Naomi when she wanted to go out and try to let people in to the ship, the refugee ship. But then he feels like, I was interested to find out that he feels guilty and he feels responsible for her sedating him. He doesn't blame her, he wasn't mad at her, he didn't hold her responsible. He held himself responsible because he felt like she was right, he was wrong, and that he should have just followed her lead. And if that happened, you know, because she always makes the more moral choices. Kitten, excuse me! Yelling. that wouldn't have had to have happened. But is he still going to be able to trust that she's somebody that does make the right decision, the moral choices, that she's someone that he can follow and get behind after he finds out that she gave this to Fred Johnson? I don't know. I think this is going to have a major impact on all of her relationships. And honestly, it should. It should have a major impact, because not only did she lie to them, but she made this decision unilaterally, and it really isn't one that should have been made that way. But I understand kind of the point that she's making. I see where she comes from. And like I said, I see a lot of parallels between what she was saying there at the end and what Ehrenreich was saying previously about people having weapons and how they'll always, you know, use weapons against each other, that war is continuous, it's not going to end. So you can't just give into this kind of idealism that Holden seems to typically have and possess about the goodness, potential goodness of people, or that you can just get rid of a threat like this. Instead, you have to try and control it. It seems like that she is subscribing to that same belief that Ehrenreich was subscribing to, and, you know, it was spoken in like a more positive, I guess, nicer way than when he was talking about it over the soon-to-be body of somebody he'd poisoned. But it was a similar sentiment, basically, that she was saying. And I don't necessarily think that they're totally wrong, but at the same time, I don't know if she made the right choice or not by giving that to Fred Johnson, but I know that she did not make the right choice by doing it behind the backs of her friends and crewmates. That's my point of view on this anyway. I don't think that I can say personally one way or another whether giving the protomolecule to Fred Johnson as a representative of the belt when Earth and Mars both have it was right or wrong, but I do think that I feel comfortable saying that it was wrong for her to do it unilaterally and behind the backs of everyone else. So I don't know how that's going to go for her. On top of this, at the end, whatever situation that Avasarala and Kocha and Bobby are now in, you know, Bobby seems to have taken out the active threat to their lives with the crew there, but they're still on Jules Pierre Mao's ship, whatever is happening out there, and they're obviously also in danger from Ehrenreich because he clearly wanted Avasarala dead, and he's been working behind the scenes to gain back power on Earth, so even if they get away and get back to Earth, you know, what happens to them? So that's a kind of big cliffhanger that we're left with as well. And then, of course, the other big kind of leftover cliffhanger that we have to deal with going into season 3 is Prax's daughter May, who we then see basically being put in, like, frozen in one of these chambers that we saw before a child's body in, that one of those children that was being experimented on, and turned into that hybrid creature. So I don't know if this means that she's about to be turned into one of those, if that's happening right now. Does this mean that they're not going to have a chance to save her? Do they still have a chance to save her? I hope so, because I don't know how I'm going to handle a situation where they catch up to these people and then she's already been turned into one of these things, or she's dead or something, and then Prax and also Amos obviously would be hugely impacted by it, and probably Naomi too, given now we know the truth about her having a child. That would be pretty terrible. So, oh god. So I guess going into next season, these are the big kind of cliffhangers. You know, what are Bobby and Avasarala and Kocha gonna do to get off that ship and to escape from both Jules Pierre Mao and Ehrenreich coming after them? how's Holden and the crew gonna react to Naomi giving that to Fred Johnson, and where do they go for? How do they go forward from there? And then, you know, about May. They still have to find May, and what shape is she gonna be in? And this isn't even talking about what happened on Venus, which I assume is just more of the protomolecule, you know, taking whatever is available to it and, you know, picking it apart and then using it in whatever, for whatever purpose it has, which we still don't really know. I assume this is still part of the work that say, Julie had talked about and Dresden had talked about. The work has to continue, whatever that is. I guess it's still ongoing, and these scientific exploration ships going out there are now just part of it too, are just been consumed because they went too close, they didn't really know what it was, they were trying to figure it out, and now they're just absorbed in it. So I assume that that is also going to be a continuing, ongoing situation, and that we'll find out about maybe in the next season, I don't know. But yeah, I was kind of worried for a little while that Holden maybe had a chance of not making it. I still, for the most part, thought that he was probably gonna live. And like I said, for a split second, I wasn't sure, because Miller did die. So it's not like they can't kill off main characters or important characters. But I was pretty sure he was gonna make it. But yeah, it's still. Honestly, I think I was more concerned about Officerella and Contra and Bobby being in danger than Holden in that moment, but I don't know. So, but alright guys, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here for the time being. So I do appreciate your comments about the episodes in season 3 that you feel should be watched together. I'm gonna do my best to do that, to watch some of those episodes back to back if I can. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it with all, because I think that there was 3 different chunks of 2 episodes each that people had mentioned, so I'm not sure I can do that with all of them, but I'll do what I can. Alright, so if you have questions, comments, please do leave them down below, and we can keep chatting about the episode in our comment section. So again, I apologize for all the craziness with this video, especially all the cat stuff, but also for the cutout, and I'll just say thank you very much for joining me once again today, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.